Hello, welcome to HITC Sport. Hang on. Does anyone else feel that? Feel that sort of taste in their mouth? Oh, it's rank. It's sort of like if you licked a dead pigeon in the face. The texture, the smell. It's almost like if you shared an elevator with Frankie Kokoza or decided to give Susan Boyle a bath. Oh, it's actually not great. Maybe I finally succumbed to polio. That's what I get for eating all of my neighbor's trash and letting stray cats sleep on my face. Or maybe this is just because I've read the worst football idea ever known to human man. I spent all of Monday sticking up for Liverpool, almost pleading for the imprisonment of Jordan Pickford. I was sympathising with their offside call. I was almost prepared to track down the home address of the VAR operators and chuck stale Jaffa cakes at their door. And now I find out that they and Manchester United, supposed mortal enemies, are linking hands and about to skip off to join something called the European Premier League. Oh, well done. Last week we had corporate bigwigs trying to shake football fans down for £15 a game. 15 quid to watch West Brom versus Burnley. Oh, I'd rather pay £15 to have my eyelids stapled shut. Did they actually expect anyone to pay that? It's like if I demanded 15 quid from each one of you to watch a live stream of me playing Buckaroo. It's like if Heavy D sacked off AFTV to go and live off OnlyFans. If he's expecting a paycheck from that company, he'll be waiting until he's dead. So no, quite fitting really that in a world where greed dominates sport, even in times of crisis, that the big clubs want to chuck over 100 years of tradition and history in the bin to completely scrap the Premier League and break away into a new shinier league, leaving us comparative peasants behind. Lads, Liverpool just won their first league title in 30 goddamn years, and now they want to leave? It's like Tyson Fury grafting his nuts off for decades to become heavyweight champion of the world before getting the belt and then spending the next 3 years eating ham and cheese toasties on the couch. Arsenal apparently part of the select elite club, despite the fact the last time they won the Premier League, Shrek 2 was in cinemas and Jude Bellingham was learning how to walk. And that was 3 Spider-Mans and 4 Katie Price weddings ago. And now you're just gonna quit, give up, wave the white flag? Is that how your quest for a trophy ends? Because let me ask you, Arsenal, how many European Super Leagues do you think you're going to win? If you can't even win a division that Leicester won, lads, you're gonna end up in a relegation scrap with Inter Milan and Ajax. And that alone is a sentence which shouldn't make sense. And I say relegation scrap. No, actually no. Because the genius thing is that relegation wouldn't exist for the first 20 years of this competition's existence. Oh, wonderful. A league where finishing bottom means just as much as finishing second. A league where there's literally no punishment or consequence for losing every goddamn game. Who cares if you finish last then? The idea is just to exist and make loads of money. This sounds like an idea you might dream of after 6 pints down the local pub. How is this actually being approved by FIFA? I shouldn't say this, but I'm just gonna say it. I'm convinced Gianni Infantino was the result of a scientific experiment gone wrong. I'm convinced he was born in a petri dish. Because lads, we thought Sepp Blatter was bad and comparable to the stupid dwarf out of Snow White. But if Infantino has actually approved this, then clearly he has a brain made of soggy ready brick. And I realise openly criticising a powerful billionaire from Eastern Europe will probably see me whacked and thrown off a bridge. Apparently this idea is to be funded by Wall Street billionaire JP Morgan. I don't know much or anything about him, but it's not a good sign when the controversy section on his Wikipedia page has nearly 3,000 words. That's like a small book. And listen, this is me taking a shot at the clubs. I don't want to criticise these clubs because I know it's not them. The reports are saying Liverpool and Man United want this. No. Their owners might want it, but they aren't the club. The chairman aren't the club. The stuffy suits eating prawn sandwiches in the director's box, they're not the club either. Their highly paid butlers aren't the club. No. Let me tell you. Do you know who are the club? Take it away, Brian.
This is the club. You're looking at it right now, man. A fan. The fans are the club.
Ah, what a guy! But that's just it, lads. The ones who make up the foundations of a club aren't the billionaires who only discovered Premier League football 7 years ago. No, it's the people who go week in, week out, put their money through the turnstiles, buy the merchandise from the club shop. These are the most important people at any club. And what say do we have? We are treated by the bigwigs in football the same way fully grown adults are at the Neverland Ranch, i.e. told to go outside and wait in the cold. This is disgusting. We are helpless, limply watching as rich men decide the fate of our football teams. How is it possible, just because a middle-aged banker who can't satisfy his wife, to buy a football club to make him seem powerful and interesting at cocktail parties, just because he decides,
oh, I don't like watching Burnley and West Brom play,
just because he decides that Molyneux looks like a rundown car park, because he decides that the likes of Billy Sharp and Phil Bardsley don't deserve his attention on a football pitch, surely that's reason enough to pull the entire club out of the football pyramid. Oh, it's mental. Lads, the goddamn Glazers, for example. You could put Donny van de Beek alongside a postman, a dinner lady, and Chunks, and they still wouldn't be able to tell which one played for their club. I mean, probably not the latter. His football technique is a dead giveaway. I mean, let's put it this way. If someone had his mate at gunpoint and told him to score a penalty, then my money would be on Chunks. of Philly's brain to be scattered across the ceiling. The European Premier League is essentially a posh, swanky London nightclub. When anyone who either isn't the distant relative of a wealthy billionaire or someone who sold their dignity on MTV for jars of cash and attention, they're essentially looked down on as subhuman garbage. Honestly, bouncers look at me as if I've just made love to their pet dog. But then again, that's probably not so much due to social standing as it is that the fact that I'm usually walking barefoot in the street and drinking jars of my own tears. Life of a YouTuber. Except with the Super League, this is a door policy that won't care about club tradition. They'll say the same things to the likes of West Ham and Everton that Jeremy Swaz Lynch says to his frustrated wife. I don't care about your past or your history. West Ham were formed in 1895 and provided the nucleus of a World Cup winning team. Everton have won 9 league titles and Aston Villa have a European Cup in their locker. How many do Man City have? As Jose Mourinho once said whilst on the verge of a midlife crisis, that is football heritage. By contrast, PSG are younger than your dad. They were formed in 1970, and just like Ed Sheeran, had done virtually nothing until 2012. Again, they've never won a Champions League. But do the Super League care about honour or tradition? No. If you've got a wallet stuffed with cash, then come on in. Who needs to play Fulham or Brighton ever again? Mere footballing peasants and lepers when compared to us. No, let's just play Juventus every year. Who wants to deal with Tuesday night trips to cold Burnley when you can just go and visit Paris and Milan instead? This is the worst idea I've heard since Thogdad asked me to join him in the bath. Just kidding, Thogdad. What a hero. Handpicking the biggest and best from around the country, shoving them all together in a financially viable supergroup. It sounds like another idea dreamt up by Adam Boltwood. Handpicking Chelsea, Tottenham and Camp Kirkham for some weird reason. But the fact this is even being discussed in the middle of a global pandemic, when lower league clubs are on their knees, and not in the same way that made Kim Kardashian famous. No, it's more like something out of a Lemony Snicket book. They're struggling to survive. Players in the 9th and 10th tier barely have enough money to feed their families. Christ above, they're probably dressing their kids in bin bags and packing the lunchbox with fingernails and hope. To the men at the top, the divisions below League 2, it's sort of like venturing into the sewers. No one really cares or wants to know what's happening down there. I mean, does no one care about Blight Spartans, Curzon Ashton, AFC Filed, #United? Does no one care about Spencer Ode right now? That man has to pay for a wedding. With what? Revenue from a Mesut Ozil video 5 years ago? I wouldn't be surprised if #Harry was reduced to selling cups of his own sweat on eBay to lonely housewives in exchange for some dinner. Greed is rife without the sport. Who cares about the little guys? Just as long as the highly paid footballers get their extortionate wages. Christ above it, even the Arsenal mascot has been told to go get a job at Burger King. It wouldn't be the last time this club has treated a footballing dinosaur with nothing but contempt. And it's embarrassing when it takes one of your own employees to offer a part of his own wages to keep him on. It's like if James and Alfie chipped in to get me a haircut. Actually, that doesn't sound like such a bad idea. Give me your lunch money, James. But back to the point, lads. Fans of these clubs, wake up. In the eyes of football owners, you and I, we don't matter. Say it out loud. Say it together with your friends and family. We don't matter. Hi, Mom. I don't matter.
I've known that for years. Stop calling here.
We don't. We're just a consumer. We don't have a name. We don't have a face. We don't even have a pair of kidneys. All we are is a visual embodiment of a f***ing dollar sign. That's all we are. If we were anything more, these people wouldn't be trying to ruin the sport we all love. Because that's what it would do. Because of a bunch of power-hungry old men whose genitals don't even work, English football would just be completely scrapped. Are we really going to let this happen? Now, on one hand, without the existence of the top 6 taking up space in the Premier League, then sure, some clubs like Everton and Newcastle might be licking their lips. This might create a world where Steve Bruce is realistically in with a chance of winning the Premier League. But is that really what we want? David Moyes will be targeting top 4 with West Ham. Do you see how ridiculous this sounds? Taking Man United and Chelsea out of English football. It'd be like if NBC had just plucked Will Smith out of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air cast. Or if the Die Hard franchise continues to make movies without Bruce Willis. Do you really think it's gonna survive? And yes, I realise the Champions League is a stuffy elite competition, but at least then you qualify for the competition on merit. The likes of Man United, they don't get a free pass every year. It's not this closed elite supergroup of the filthy rich where no one else is allowed in. No, the doors are open to anyone who manages to get inside the top 4. But not this one. No, this is set in stone. Purely for those lucky enough to have a multi-billionaire pumping cash through their club. Are the likes of Newcastle United Football Club a lesser club than Tottenham? Purely because for the last 13 years, they've been unlucky enough to be stuck in a dead-end working relationship with a guy who only reaches into his pocket to pay for his daily supply of Uber Eats. Are Leicester City, an actual recently crowned Premier League champion, are they suddenly not deemed stylish enough to sit with this elite group of super clubs because they don't have a stadium that looks like a spaceship? This is a disgusting idea. This cannot be allowed to happen. And like I said, just digesting this utter greed in my mouth, it tastes like porridge after you smeared it in cat piss. Anyway, that's it. Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and as always, I'll talk to you in a while.